Macmillan Audio presents A Labyrinth of Scions and Sorcery by Curtis Craddock. Read for you by Erin Bennett. Chapter 1. Jean-Claude rubbed 2 copper pennies between his fingers. He was in the market for information, the collection of such being the greater part of his job. Unfortunately, the particular salesman with whom he was faced, a nervous tick of a man named Pacey, was a bit of a junk merchant, selling rusty second-hand rumors often cobbled together out of entirely different stories and missing critical pieces. "What scandal are you talking about?" Jean-Claude asked, having been pursuing this topic for some time. Pacey crouched at the mouth of his alley, looking around with the furtive air of a mouse who expected to be eaten by a cat at any moment. It would have to be a lower-class cat, probably a one-eyed stray with a yowl that could strip paint. "If I knew that, I'd be selling that," Pacey said peevishly. "All I know is that Mistwaith talked about auctioning off a scandal to get even with de Zephyrs. Now where's my coin?" Jean-Claude, King's own musketeer, had been guardian to Princess Isabelle de Zephyrs since the day she was born. She was his daughter in all but blood, and woe betide anyone who sought to harm her. "Getting even for what?" Jean-Claude asked. Isabelle was ambassadress to the Grand Peace. She'd spent the last year stitching together a treaty between l'Empire Celeste and the neighboring kingdom of Aragoth. This attempt to preemptively stop people from killing each other had naturally earned her many enemies amongst those who likened peace to weakness. "How should I know?" Pacey stared at the coins in Jean-Claude's hand. He bounced up and down like a nervous squirrel, his fingers twitching. "He just said the Comte and his children would regret double-crossing him." "Le Comte de Zephyrs?" Jean-Claude asked, surprised. Isabelle's father was a vile, twisted villain, but he was also dying of the red consumption hundreds of kilometers away on a remote skyland. What in all the 10,000 torments was a scandal of his doing here? "Yes," Pacey whined. "Come on. I've told you all I know." Jean-Claude tossed him the coins, which he managed to drop. Pacey spent the next several seconds chasing the coins around on the cobbles and panting in panic as if they were running away on purpose. He then counted his haul, both of them, several times before slinking into the alley. Jean-Claude couldn't care less about Isabelle's father. The sooner the man died, the better. But men seeking revenge frequently targeted the families of the ones they hated. Lord Brandon Mistwaith, golden-tongued sorcerer and rumor-monger of scurrilous reputation, must be dissuaded from taking any such action against Isabelle. Jean-Claude therefore exerted himself to obtain an invitation to the auction. The event was to be held this hour at an inn called the Golden Swain. Since showing up in a den of thieves and whisperers in uniform was likely to spoil the party, Jean-Claude had exchanged his blue-and-gold musketeer's tabard for merchant's garb, a floppy beret, a padded green doublet, and a pair of spectacles that he kept telling himself he didn't really need. At the appointed hour, Jean-Claude mounted up and rode to the Low Market. The main portion of the city rested on a narrow shelf of land between the deep sky and an immense cliff called the Riven Crag, which rose 2 kilometers straight up from the coastal apron. He passed beneath a wide stone archway, one of the many that cut through the buttresses the great cliff thrust out onto the plain, and emerged into the market circle. Here was a gladiatorial arena where great battles of commerce were daily enacted. Hundreds of merchant stalls selling.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?